Hey, it's Derek from ForeGolf Custom again. We're here with TaylorMade's new Stealth 2 driver. This is quite an impressive piece of kit, to be fair, but it's got a lot of different things going on to it. It's got new lie angles, flatter and more upright lie angles within the heads. The shafts are much longer than normal. TaylorMade are talking about this Fargiveness, so it's going far, but it's very forgiving. There's a high moment of inertia story. There's a lot of buzzwords going on. We're going to peel back all of this information and give you the insights into what we're seeing when the fittings are here, how we're applying these drivers, and then which of these might best suit you based on the different spec and tech. Dave, let's go straight into the Stealth 2 Plus head.
Yep.
Let's break that down. Who is that for, and who's best suited to that driver here with us?
Let's get some of the buzzwords out of the way. So MOI, moment of inertia, off-center hits square. So more forgiving. So this driver is 10% more forgiving than its predecessor, original Stealth.
But maybe break that down again. How is it more forgiving? Because obviously they said last driver was more forgiving. How is this more forgiving?
The key feature is that you have a 20% larger centered core. So basically what that means is you've got an extra 20% of positive material to hit the ball from. So where the ball will be at its quickest. So that exists in all the drive, in the whole range.
And so is this a question of where this is a weight stripping story? So they've stripped more weight out of this, moved more weight to the back to make it higher MOI, or have they just taken Stealth from last year and just refined it to be more forgiving or more friendly?
There's an element of refinement, which is the same with any piece of technology that comes out from its first year or its infancy. There tends to be a second generation out where they're going, well, if I'd done this and I'd done that, so they can go back and rethink how to make something that was already good better again. So you always get a positive year after that second year because they learn from, this is new and this is how we do it. What I mean, there's 2 grams off the face. That's not going to save a huge amount in the grand scheme of things. Going from titanium at 46 grams for a face down to carbon fiber at 26. That was a big technical change. Allowed them to reposition weight. There's another 2 grams off this. Again, you've got another 2 grams that you can move around. But in the grander scheme of things, it's not going to necessarily help hugely.
So I've noticed that the length on this Stealth 2 Plus is quite long. Who's this driver going into? What sort of player is using this driver? And what sort of spec have you been doing with the sliding weight and the hosel?
So I think one of the reasons that it feels longer in terms of its actual length is that you touched on it about lie angles. So quite a lot of these modern day drivers, based on their aerodynamics, look quite upright, or in layman's terms, the toe looks sticking up in the air. So they've flattened it, one, to kind of make it look a little bit square in behind the back of the ball, and 2, to kind of promote it. But what it does is it moves the head further away from the person, which then makes the shaft feel that kind of extra length. What then it also does is it moves the weight more towards the head. So then you end up with a high swing weight. So this one that I have in my hand, we've just done it comes out of like D7, which is quite a heavy weighted swing weight for modern day drivers, where bar the 2 weights and a little bit of the outside peripheral weighting is all carbon fiber, which is extremely lightweight and extremely strong.
Is this then for better players still?
Because it is higher in MOI, or it's more forgiving, then that opens it up to a bigger spectrum of players that can put this into the golf bag, because traditionally with this sort of driver, it's not as forgiving as a Stealth 2 or original Stealth, because of the way the weight's set up, the design of the head, it's deeper, it's the center of gravity's moved. So making it more forgiving opens it up to a much higher percentage of player who can now put this driver into the golf bag.
Are you moving the weight much now? So that sliding weight that slides up for fade and down for draw, are you moving that much?
I'm always a fan when TaylorMade have the track really as long as they can get it. This is quite a neat track and the weight's quite wide. So I know I'm going to make Don happy. I would use it at full weight, neutral or draw, rather than having half a block here or move it to 3/4. So I would use it, but I'd only use it in 3 fixed positions.
Okay, and similarly then, hosel, are you seeing much movement on the hosel? Again, because the driver is technically more forgiving and it's more friendlier off the face, that we've definitely found that. Are you moving the hosel as much?
Because of the change in the lie angle, and so a flat lie angle tends to promote a more fade biased miss, and a more upright lie angle tends to promote a more fade biased miss. Instead of necessarily thinking about what I'm doing with the hosel to adjust the face angle, I'm more thinking about it from a lie angles perspective. So more setting the lie angle for the player, arm length, leg length, torso length, as opposed to necessarily using it to open and close the face, or which ad hocly then promotes a higher launch and a lower launch.
So then Stealth 2, the sort of the middle driver, I guess is the way to describe it. What's that doing and who's that for?
So again, you've got that same higher MOI story going through. The information pack says 7%. Anything that makes it more forgiving than a year's previous driver is a positive thing. Traditionally, this driver is quite forgiving anyway. It's really easy to hit, it's really easy to keep shape. It's good to get speed from, tends to come with a lighter shaft with a bit more kick in it, still got that bit of length in it. The head weight isn't quite as heavy because you haven't got the weight split so much. You've just got that 124 gram chip rather than in the plus you've got the 2 15 gram weights. So that little bit lighter length. Again, you tend to have slightly higher lofts. I think across the range they're maybe a little bit more draw orientated than they've ever been before. So again, all that helps is the golf ball not kind of any bit of cut slows the ball down, or any bit of draw speeds the ball up. So part of the story of keeping distance up on it.
So let's just stop on that for a second. So you're seeing it that they're more draw. You're seeing more draw bias from the fitting.
Yeah. So the weights have moved ever so slightly more in towards the heel, so they're a little bit easier to shape to that draw side. I wouldn't necessarily call the Stealth 2 draw biased. It's just easy to promote a draw shape. And
then are you using the hosel then on this? Obviously you don't have the sliding weight in this head, so is the hosel more important to this? And maybe explain what you're doing with the hosel.
Well, this one, so you've got a different lie angle on all the models. So this one's just more of a standard lie angle. So this is more of a loft story. Do I close the face, add loft to it to help with the cut, or do I de-loft it, open the face to help with a straighter flight from a draw bias perspective?
The third head in the range, well, technically there's 4, but the third head, I guess design-wise, is the Stealth 2 HD, and it's a high draw product. Is there definitely a difference between it and the Stealth 2 head?
There's definitely a difference because the center of gravity moves much more into the heel, so it promotes that kind of higher draw flight. I think if you use an HD driver, it tends to be quite a similar spec. You're looking for loft, you're looking for launch, and you're looking for it to draw. So you're always kind of upright settings, closed faces, higher loft angles, 10.5s, 12s.
Is this a slower speed then product? Is this for people with slower swing speed?
When it draws, it spins less, so it's easy to get a bit more distance out of it. So yes, it would promote it from that perspective, but essentially they're all quick, or as quick as they can legally make them anyway. So it's not necessarily, again, a story off the face, more a conversation around your good ones, your bad ones going a closer distance. So your overall average and your overall speed is up, but not necessarily the ones that you button out the middle.
And they've separated the ladies' driver as well. It's still a HD high draw product, high loft, high draw, but it's a different colorway. Are ladies getting into this? Do they like this head? Is it working for them?
What I mean, as you quite rightly pointed out, it's a colorway change. If you can't get the ladies one, then the gents one head are exactly the same. So you don't necessarily have that much of a problem. It's more from a shaft's perspective. You get that shorter shaft length, you get that lighter weight, you get that more kick profile. So more lady orientated in its standard spec. For me, I tend to see strong ladies, powerful ladies, so I more often not use the gents head and don't need the draw head because they can already power through it. So it's more a case of I need the spin under control, the launch under control to optimize their flight.
Is the Fargiveness tagline, is that a fair reflection on this product line?
We haven't there's no distance thing that's ever a bad thing, because we're playing in a world where golf courses are getting longer and we are getting shorter, traditionally as amateur golfers. So anything that hits it further is important, but there's no point in hitting it further offline. So the far with the forgiveness part of it, the forgiveness means you'll hit more fairways, and if you hit more fairways at a longer distance, it just takes less pressure off your second shot. So the forgiveness element of the kind of media presence is absolutely spot on. It's not that we've done distance, but it needs to be accurate distance, otherwise it's not otherwise it's not good or not usable.
So there we have it, folks. The Fargiveness story is definitely something that we see in this Stealth 2 lineup. And I guess, I say it all the time, but custom fitting for this I think is exceptionally important, because you've got 3 different heads, 4 if you take in the ladies' head as well. The hosel, is very adjustable. The lie angles now are changing, which they haven't done before. It's creating length profile conversations and sort of almost differences in why would we want to have the shaft so long. So I think this is a product that needs to be custom fitted. And I think for shaft, for length, and for balance weight, it's very, very important that you get dialed into the right head spec and overall shaft length to get the right sort of, shot shape from this, and certainly the right type of flight from this. I've done the Stealth review before. I think it's probably worth having a look at that and understanding what that driver does, so that you can see where this might fit in. But certainly if you're looking for a driver that's more forgiving, gets a little bit better speed on off-center hits, as long as you get that dialed into your specs, I think you could be onto a winner for this in the season. If you like what we're doing, please give a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, and maybe stick in the comments below if this is something that you think that you would dial into, that you would purchase going forward. It'll give us a help to understand maybe how this driver is working in the marketplace. But until the next video, we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.